Beginner's Guide to Teaching Online. I'm Elle O'Keefe, and here with me.
Hi, I'm Latricia Roundtree.
And we are so excited that you decided to take this course. We're happy to work with you. And we want to just go over very quickly what you can expect in this course that's going to prepare you to either do online teaching or online training. So we will begin the course with a discussion of theory. And I know that a lot of times there's kind of a conflict between theory and practice, as if you only need one or the other. But in truth, theory can play a very big role in how you practice something. And so we want you to know about the theories behind effective teaching so that you can then use those to inform what you do on a day-to-day basis. These will also make really good topics for you to discuss in an interview, and they look good on your resume when you list them as things that you know about.
And also, throughout the course, you will learn more about discussion forums. You will notice that throughout this course, you will not see many screenshots from actual courses. And there's a purpose for that. Wherever you go to teach or whatever organization you go to work for that you're creating trainings for, they're going to have their own platform that they work on. And there's a plethora of them out there. So we want to give you the tools that you'll be able to utilize no matter what platform you're teaching. So the portion about discussion forums, we're going to teach you the fundamentals of a discussion. In an online setting, you don't have an opportunity to speak with your participants one-on-one like you would in the actual classroom in a physical setting. So the discussion forums are a way for you to connect, to communicate with one another, and also that's where true teaching and learning happens.
It's true. In your discussions, you'll find that this is the place where you can share your knowledge, you can interact with students, you can find out if they are really understanding what you mean for them to understand, or if there are misunderstandings, this can be the place for you to correct those. And so we want you to know how to lead an online discussion. We'll also talk with you about the announcement area in a course. And this can be called different things in different platforms. As Latricia mentioned, there are so many different platforms that schools and organizations use. But in some places, you'll find the announcement area is used for logistical or housekeeping reasons, but we want you to understand that your announcement area can absolutely be a place for you to teach and engage your learners. We'll also discuss the concept of effective feedback with you. And effective feedback is quite different in the online setting than face-to-face.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because, when you're, the purpose of the course too is to help you understand that in a virtual setting versus a physical setting, you have to sometimes, I would say, over communicate. So for instance, let's say in your workplace, you may have received an email from a coworker and you read the email and you took it some type of way. You were like, oh, wow, I was really offended by that. But then maybe when you spoke with that person, they were like, oh, no, I didn't mean it that way. So that's why it's very important. Communication is huge.
Oh, yes.
In the online setting, the online platform. So that's where this course really has a lot of communication pieces to help you with that. Feedback is one of those. You want to make sure that whether it's you're working with students or you're working with employees in an organization, you want to make sure you give them constructive feedback, detailed feedback, because you're not able to verbally express any concerns, or they can't hear your inflection, your tone. So you have to make sure that your feedback is, to the point. We also teach you a little bit about grading rubrics as well, if you're not already familiar with those.
You just made me think of something, Latricia, when you were talking about miscommunication. When I started teaching online, which was, I think, 15 years ago, and online was pretty much a baby in the education world, I am a sarcastic person by nature. I mean no harm. That's just my sense of humor. It's rather dry, my sense of humor. It's an acquired taste. And I remember that was one of the very first things that I learned the hard way, was that sarcasm does not translate well when people can't see your face, can't hear your voice, your body language is missing. And that is why, as Latricia was saying, we focus quite a bit on the communication aspect of teaching and training online, and not the technical side of specific platforms, because those platforms, as much as they are different across schools and organizations, they're also the same. Once you've used them, you will start to see that, okay, it looks a little different or it has a different name, but I get it, it's the same thing. What we want you to leave this course with is the ability to go into a classroom and help your students transform. And that does require a very different set of skills and practices than being in the same room with people and getting to know them in that very personal, face-to-face way. And that is why we focus on communication through discussions and communication through announcements and communication through feedback, and even proactive communication through outreach.
Yes, definitely. When you are in a virtual setting, you want to make sure that it's easy for your students to fall through the cracks. And things happen, especially when you're teaching adult learners. And even if you're teaching, at a high school or elementary school level, you want to make sure that although you don't see them every day, you may not know what's going on with them. So outreach is a great way. If you see that in a grade book that a student is missing a lot of work or they haven't been logging in, you want to reach out to them, make sure everything's okay. Let them know that you're there to support them. Support is huge because you may be the only cheerleader or support system they have as far as going back to school or attending the training. So we have to make sure that we establish a connection. We always tease each other as instructors and say, we're more than just instructors, we're mentors, we're psychologists. We have a lot of different roles that we play.
Yes.
But that's just part of, what it entails, because, you don't have that, they're not coming into a classroom with you each day. So you have to think of ways that you can reach out to them, whether it's text messages, whether it's email, just, by phone, connecting with them and letting them know that you're there as a resource.
And we will go into that in greater detail, of course, during the class. And then finally, we want to share with you some information about how to prepare the documents that you will use when you are looking for an online teaching position. Obviously, that means cover letter and resume, but in this case, it also means a teaching statement or your teaching philosophy statement, which many people are unfamiliar with until they start applying and see that it's a requirement at many schools.
Yes, definitely. We want to give you, one thing you will find about this course is not just giving you information about the theories or how to teach online. We're going to teach you how to land that first job, how to continue to progress and move into different roles. So that's our caveat to you, just to make sure that you have the tools that you need in order to benefit from the opportunities that are available to you.
All right, so without further ado, stop watching this video and go start the course. We look forward to seeing you progress.
Yes. Get started.